one of the things I always say at conventions, man, is that we all could have been best friends. You know, because we all into the same thing. We all shared the same experiences. We all had those same discoveries and everything.
Yeah.
It's like, man, you know, when you get past, you know, things that, you know, aren't important, when you get past all that people consider important, you get to the true nature, the true human spirit, the true humanity of someone, their heart and their passion. We're very similar in
Yeah.
that. You know what I mean? And that's why I feel as though that we all connect when it comes to this particular era in pop culture, you know, with the music and the nostalgia, the movies, the comic books and the toys and everything. We all share this, you know what I mean? So it's always cool to be able to engage with people when we can get past all the other social stuff and the race stuff and really just talk about heartfelt, fun memories, you know what I mean? And the excitement of what's new and what's to come and talk about the frustrations, you know what I mean? Because we all get pissed off about the same things.
Yeah.
And we all love the same thing, you know? So, you know, when we can kind of, you know, just get rid of all the other stuff and then talk about what we all love, then that's when we realize that we're more similar than we are different.
So today, I'm very excited. This is awesome. Very stoked. You'll know if you have any type of action figures, I'm sure you have an action figure designed by him in some way, shape, or form. The awesome David VONNER is here with us today. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me. Let's do some hand claps.
Yeah. I'll put a clapping track in the background. That way people think we're talking to an audience there.
Nice. We'll do some Bill Maher type stuff.
More professional, right? It's got to look, got to keep people thinking this is on a soundstage or something.
Yeah.
For those at home that don't know you, who are you? Why are you here? What's the deal?
Who am I? You know, I'm David VONNER, but you know, I'm a kid that grew up and just love being a kid. You know, again, it's funny. I was talking to my mom about this the other day. You know, and my mom really just wanted to have really fun memories for me. You know what I mean? Yeah. And those memories became, you know, a passion. So, and at growing up, you know, I just love the feeling of keeping things that have that memory, you know, and I think that's what kind of started my collecting, you know, because I always had comic books. You know, my mom was a big comic book fan. My dad was a big comic book fan. So it was always comic books around, and based off of that, you know, my mom was always into like, you know, fantasy, like Jason and the Argonauts and stuff like that, and Sinbad and all that other stuff, and movies. She loved Planet of the Apes and Rod Sterling and everything, Twilight Zone. So she was always into that fantasy and also counterculture stuff, and my dad too. So it was always around, you know, and but she was when I was a young, like, little boy, like when I was born and until I was like 4 or 5 years old, my mom was a nurse. So now looking into the adult lens, I think that, you know, some of the things that she experienced as a nurse when she would come home, you know, her version of decompressing was kind of, you know, reading her comic books and watching Carol Burnett, you know, and indulging in pop culture stuff. And because those memories resided with her, you know what I mean? So
yeah.
So, and I think that that was passed down to me. Like, I grew up in Atlantic City, New Jersey, and when I grew up, I'm 47 years old, and it was right when the casinos started to boom in Atlantic City, when they first started to build, and there were no other casinos anywhere other than Las Vegas, and the plan was to have Atlantic City to be the Las Vegas of the East, you know. So my mom got on the ground floor of the casinos, became a dealer, eventually worked her way up, became a pit boss, and she was there and worked at the Sands, and so we always had, you know, means, you know, and my mom made good money. So with that, you know, I had got an allowance and you know, hung out with my friends and went and bought comic books, you know, and after I had discovered them and everything, and was into toys, and I did not want to grow up. I mean, my mom had to force me to basically, like in high school, all right, you have to get clothes for school. Like you need clothes for Christmas.
Right?
Your birthday, you need clothes. Like, all right, like you can't have any more toys. You need things that's going to start to, prepare you in a different phase of your life. But I wasn't ready for that. I was perfectly content on wearing the same jeans every day, the same T-shirt every day, and using whatever money I had to buy comic books and action figures. Like that was it. I was perfectly content with that.
This is really funny. You are saying a lot of things that I grew up doing as well, and our moms probably would have been friends because it's a lot of that is a lot of similarities in what you're saying. So that's amazing.
Mm-hmm. And
sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. I was gonna say there's something about the way certain, like when you talk to people that have collected or been into comics for years and years, you always have those parent stories. Like Mother's Day, I said, name a toy, and I was like, we'll see how this goes. I said, name a toy you wouldn't have found without your mother's help. And I probably got like at least 300 or 400. Like I remember my mom, you know what I mean? There's always like a certain family element to collecting and, growing up and having your mom or your dad. My dad took me to my first Comic-Con, and I've been going ever since then. But no, that's really cool. That's awesome to
funny. My mom actually, because she worked at the at the Sands Casino. It was originally opened up and built as the Brighton, and then it turned into the Sands, and it's the same Sands that was famous for Frank Sinatra in Vegas and all that other stuff. So I'll never forget. My mom has always been into Star Trek. So my first convention experience was going to a Star Trek convention that was held at the Sands.
Oh.
and I was kind of in this. I was entering my geeky teenage phase at this point. And like awkward. Like I started to kind of grow a little bit. Feet was real big, a little gangly, and all this other stuff. And I was also, by this time, I was really heavy into art and everything. So, that's when I guess these unconscious or subliminal or just subconscious feelings of fear started to manifest, because now I'm starting to create stuff and people are starting to judge what I create. You know what I mean? So now I feel like this. Now I'm putting undue pressure on myself because now I need to, really, excel in this.
Yeah.
So fast forward, there's this Star Trek convention going on at the Sands, and I had airbrushed like the Enterprise and also the Star Trek insignia, like floating in space and everything. And the plan was to get them signed. Like, the original crew was actually there at the convention, and I was going to get my painting signed and everything. So my mom, now she had to work. She was a pit boss at this time, but she was super, super stoked. And I mean, I can't tell you how stoked she was for this Star Trek convention to go on. I think she was more stoked with that. And then she was like, oh yeah, and you're going to have your art shown. So she was excited about that, but she was really excited about the convention and seeing the cast, right? So my mom, I had to meet my mom at the Sands. And what I did not know was that she had this makeup done and she made herself look like a Klingon. And she had this Klingon makeup on all day, wearing it on the casino floor and everything. But I didn't know. So I come to the casino and I meet her because she had one of the entertainment people do the makeup for her and all that stuff, to do all the shows. And I meet her in this room where the convention is being held, and it's like a giant lobby almost. And my mom is standing there talking Klingon, speaking Klingon to these other people dressed as Klingons at this convention. And I was standing there like, oh my God, like, what the hell is going on? Like, I felt like super cool and super weird. Like I didn't know, because I never experienced this before. Like, this is a guy dressed up as a Klingon, and my mom is made up as a Klingon. And she had bought this Klingon book for me like the year before, but she was taking it at night and learning it but I didn't know that she was learning Klingon. So she's up there speaking Klingon to this dude, and I'm sitting there like, just what is going on? Like, what is this? Because I had no frame of reference. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't. I didn't know what cosplay was at the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I did not know that. It was just like this weird thing. Like, I'm looking at my mom and I'm kind of in awe and I'm holding these paintings. And then eventually I wound up getting them signed and everything. Like Scotty signed it and Ahura signed it and everything. So it was really, really cool. But that was like my first convention experience, man. And it was like my mom had kind of stole the show.
That's all. It's like, yeah, it's like your mom's the original like nerd. Like she knows what's up. Like that's amazing. It's funny, for me going to Comic-Con nowadays and seeing what it's become. And when I tell people, they're like, oh, is this your first Comic-Con? I'm like, no, like for San Diego, this is, I mean, I think I'm up to like 26, 27, something like that. And I was like, they used to be, you barely had any kind of celebrities there.
Yeah.
Like I mean, I tell a story every once in a while. I said, when I met Stan Lee, he was sitting at a table signing for Archie Comics. It was like Archie Comics meets Stan Lee or something like that. And people are like, what? Like, did you have to wait in line? I'm like, no. This was just like, you just walk up and it's like, hi, I'm Stan Lee. He signed it, shook your hand. He talked to you for about 5 minutes. And
yep,
that's the way it used to go. But
like at Toybiz had a table with just like prototypes on there, like the early versions of Marvel Legends on a table.
Yeah. I probably have met you before then because I was probably one of those nerdy kids bugging the heck out of you guys. What's coming next? Where you know what I mean? It's like I remember all that kind of stuff. I remember those tables and it was like, white, what was it, like white tablecloths or something like that?
Yeah.
And it was few and far between. There was so much room in the convention.
Yeah. I mean, it was funny because it in those early days of convention and of everything, they really remind me kind of, and I think this is why me personally, I always loved Toy Fair. Like I always loved Toy Fair. And the reason why I loved Toy Fair was because the excitement of seeing something in its raw form. Because sometimes, like back then, Toy Fair was like, it wasn't like how it is now, where basic stuff was already in the market and then it's shown at Toy Fair. Like at Toy Fair before, it was like, it was all new. Like you did not know what was coming down the pipe. And but you saw stuff in their raw form, so you really didn't see maybe like the packaging might not have been flushed out, or the whole marketing plan might not have been flushed out. But you saw the toy, you know what I mean? And like that was the early days of Comic-Con was like that, and Toy Fair was like that. To me, Toy Fair was always cool. Like at the Toybiz showroom was always fun, you know what I mean? Because we would show new stuff, and we would decorate the showroom to make it look like different environments, like like when we had the Lord of the Rings license and it looked like an actual cave. We had a giant cave troll that kind of came out his door. and then like Spider-Man, it looked like you were in the subway. And then we had the X-Men, it was just kind of blacked out and it looked like parts of the Danger Room and stuff like that. So it was like, but it was so early on, you know what I mean? And it was like, we were like plotting or just kind of like laying the foundation for the early vision of what it is now. But really it was all the stuff that we were just fascinated with growing up, and just wanted to showcase it.
Well, like really you guys started like the original, let's say, Toybiz team for Marvel Legends. I mean, you paved the way incredibly for what we see now. How does that feel to know that, I mean, you've left that mark, like, and what it's become eventually to see, what are we at, like Deadpool, Marvel Legends, you know what I mean? And, but with the old Toybiz stuff, it was, I make this, like, joke all the time. It's like, yeah, we're getting like Pirate Pool and the most obscure characters ever. But back in the day for Toybiz, I mean, that was like every day. I'd go to Toys R Us or whatever, and be like, I have no idea who this character is. Like, say, especially from the X-Men line. But you'd go look it up, or you would ask your comic book guy, and he'd look at you and be like, oh, geez, like, how do you not know this? You know what I mean? And it's like,
it was funny because I think, being inside of Toybiz, like especially during that time, like we really didn't know how the fans were going to react to anything.
Yeah.
So, we were just kind of doing things that we thought would be cool and things that inspired us too, like Japanese toys and McFarlane. I was like, McFarlane was a big inspiration for me personally. It was a big inspiration for me. And then like working with other sculptors like, Digger Mesh, and he had his art asylum and Jerry Macaluso, and, he had his lady doing soda toys. So it was like, it just from being an artist, it was cool seeing like all these other artists who were contributing their work in different forms. Like, guys were doing packaging, but they were crazy artists. I mean, we had like writers like doing the copywriting, or like just everyone was just passionate. Everyone was just passionate at Toybiz about Marvel. Yeah. And that was really just all it was. And then the fans saw what we were doing, and then they started to be like, oh wow, this is cool. But we were just like, we're cool, just like the same thing that you guys like. This is the same things that we like. We're just trying to show it now. Now we have the means to be able to show it.
I think, and in kind of drawing back to what we were talking about earlier with like the emphasis on the actual collecting. I mean, you guys did variants, and you guys put like hard to find, figures, one per case, things like that. That is what I think also elevated that to be like, it was so much fun to collect. I mean, nowadays they don't do it too much anymore. Things have changed, but I mean, it was like, did you get that? Did you get the this variant of the Wasp, or did you get that? And it's
and stuff like that was directly influenced by like G.I. Joe and obviously comic books. Especially during the 90s. The different variant covers and all that. But for me personally, like I always like before there was a such thing as an actual variant. These were basically like mistakes and errors. You know what I mean? So like I would love when I would get comic books like with two covers stapled inside. You know what I mean? Like you open up and it's another cover or something odd like that, or like the Destro variant or something like that. So I love like when I would get stuff that was messed up. Like I like burnt potato chips. I like burnt French fries. Like I like the oddity. When I can discover something that's odd out the bunch, that for me is like I never forget it. And that's what kind of drives me. So when we started to do the variants, at Toybiz, man, it was like, I mean, we were like evil scientists, like rubbing our hands together. You know what I mean? It was like everything opened up again in a whole new way.
Yeah.
And then introduce like the Builder figure, man. Like that was like just super cool to be a part of that experience, because it was like just the discovery. It was that feeling of discovery. Like wow, like we can actually do that. You know what I mean? And we were like, people going to lose their mind when they see that. You know what I mean? So it was like. But we were just projecting. We didn't know because we weren't in the midst of any of that at the time. We were just doing it. So we were just like saying like, this is cool for us, so this has to be cool for everybody else.
Yeah. Well, the Build-A-Figure is one of the greatest marketing genius things ever for toys, one. And it kind of has like origins amidst like overseas, like Japanese toys, right?
Yep.
And just in... I mean, sure, even to this day, you get all excited. You're like, okay, who's going to be in the wave? But it's always the Build-A-Figure that you. I mean,
it really, like you said, is not only just from a business standpoint, like a masterful marketing hook, but it's also, man, it's just like, that's just a toy. You know what I mean? Like that's just the cool thing about a toy. You get something, it does something, then you connect, you can build it to do something.
Yeah.
I mean, like, that's just cool. And with Marvel, it opened up in my mind. It was like, it was like this treasure box had opened up that I didn't even know was buried. And it was like the possibilities. And I still think about like it frustrates me to this day that the whole idea of like the Build-A-Figure isn't utilized more than it should be.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can do so much with it. Not just the character, but the environment, the accessory, the vehicle, you name it, it can be done. It could be done.
I think I definitely agree with you. I know that, I mean, of course, we've had tons and tons of Build-A-Figures. They recent times they had that Build-A-Vulture harness for the Spider-Man movie. But you're right. I think that, I mean, was it Diamond Select? They've done it with Nightmare Before Christmas, Ghostbusters. I think that, yeah, you're right. It could be used for a Build-A Danger Room, or man, there's so many different things. Put me on the spot, but you know what I mean? Yeah, I agree.
It's so many things. It's so many. Like, that's the thing because once you get the idea that it can be done, it's like you get a flood of ideas. Like, yo, where do I start?
Yeah.
Like, where do I even begin? Because I think this is one of the reasons why I love Marvel, and why I love, like, they have no connection whatsoever, but like Marvel, Bruce Lee, they have a connection, and I always can discover something new about them. The philosophies that have been put in place, I can always learn from it. And when I read a Marvel comic book, I get a whole new idea where I can apply an idea for product all the time, all the time. And like in old comic books, and sometimes and in the new ones, it's like all the time I'm looking at the stuff and like, my God, how come no one is doing this? Like, and why hasn't no one done that? Or I kick myself in the ass, like, why didn't I think of that before? Why didn't I share that idea with somebody? You know what I mean? Or so it's there's always something to discover about Marvel, and that's why I believe that I love it so much. Even though I can be frustrated with it, but there's still something to discover with it all the time. And that translates into the toys, that translates to everything. You know what I mean? It just, there's always something to discover.
Yeah. I think that, especially with action figures in the Marvel realm, they're across the board, Marvel is just killing it. It's funny growing up. And like how we were talking about, I was the only one out of my friends that collected it or talked about comics or anything like that. And nowadays, everybody has their little corner of nerddom, like Doctor Who, Marvel, DC, Spawn, whatever. There's something for everyone. And now there's no really such thing as like we still make jokes, of course, but there's no like nerd. Like everybody's a nerd.
Right.
So it's like, for people to, and I see a lot of this. They come down on people. I can't believe you like this. I'm like, well, you like this. I'm not coming down on you about that. So it's it's morphed into this weird thing where before you'd be like, I like sports and you like comics, and now it's like everybody likes nerd stuff, but I don't like you because you like that particular movie, or I don't,
Yeah, and which and I really hate that, because that is so against what we got into this about, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we never shared that, first of all, comic books weren't considered cool. So
no, not at all.
So the people who did read comic books, you basically were like, I'm in the same group with them. Period. And I never thought of myself as being uncool. I just knew that people didn't consider comic books cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I knew that they were cool. So it was like, being able to share that was always like an experience for me. But now it's like you got guys like, I like this character, I like that character, or this figure. It's like everyone can critique and everything. It's like, back in the day we didn't do all that. Like, we loved what we got. You know what I mean? And maybe if you thought about it, you wish certain things might have happened in the story or whatever, but you still loved it. But now it's like people can not only not like a thing, but then they can go online and then talk about it and not only berate that thing, but then berate the people who made that thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that to me, it takes everything that, talking about and liking pop culture and everything, and it puts such a negative stamp on it that a lot of times it's just like there's no call. It's not called for. It's not. It doesn't matter that much to get that upset over fantasy.
Yeah.
You know, it's meant to be fun. It's meant to be an escape from, let's say, the outside world. If things aren't going well,
Right.
there's your retreat. You know, to have something enjoyable, at least for a little bit. I have this old Wizard magazine, and in it, at the very beginning, it talks about how there's a wish list for action figures. And the number one for like a couple months, because they did this few issues, it was like Ghost Rider. Oh man, I can't wait for Ghost Rider figures, you know. And when those hit, you know, when those came out, even when Marvel Legends did them too, you know, it was such like, oh my God, yes, they're finally making, you know, Ghost Rider toys. Whereas nowadays, it's like, here's a Ghost Rider, and you're like, why isn't it Danny Ketch, or why isn't it, you know, this character? And it's like,
Yep.
well,
I mean, can you imagine the first time that you had got like your, you know, $6 million man action figure, and you were like, well, how come he doesn't have a mustache? You know, you know, or I want the mustache variant, you know, and my collection isn't complete until I have that. You know what I mean? You know, we've overanalyzed the fun in a way. You know, we've overanalyzed the fantasy. Like some things are just meant to be cheesy. You know, some are just, some things don't come out right, and that adds to the almost the beauty of it. You know what I mean? Like certain toys look horrendous or maybe so off the mark, you know, like the first Star Trek toys and all that other stuff. But for some reason, there's an innocence to it that is like, it's still a toy. You know what I mean? It still harkens to that memory of when I watched that movie or watched that particular episode or read that story. You know what I mean? Like it still harkens to that.
I think that applies to people that are in the modern sense, starting to collect or get into toys. For us, let's say, and there's no problem to it. It's just, I think this is the mentality where it's, if you have the old toys, you do have those memories associated with them, and you appreciate them more. Whereas nowadays, new stuff, we've become sort of a throwaway culture. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You buy a toy, and for me, it's like you have to get them all. And I've been collecting for years and years, but nowadays some would say, "Oh, I buy it," and then 6 months later, maybe they sell it or they trade it or something like that. So you don't have those. Oh, it's been in my attic for years and years and years. You know, I used to play with this while I watched the cartoon or something like that. Because when I talk about, let's say, Toybiz, like the old Spider-Man the animated series figures, I love Marvel Legends. I love the retro ones that are coming out. They look fantastic, but they don't have the feeling and the memories attached to them. They will maybe later, years from now. But I could tell you a million stories on where I got these and troubles I had to go through and begging money.
Exactly. That's what I mean. Like, you know, those begging your parents for money, you know, or like honestly, bro, I'm gonna tell you, true story, man. The first time I've ever stolen anything in my life, and I don't go around stealing stuff, and I can actually count on my hand how many times I've actually stolen something, you know, and it always involved a toy. And my first toy that I actually stole was the Superman doll from the Superman the movie, the first, you know, the Christopher Reeve movie. And I took it, and I remember opening it up, and I stuffed it in my pants. And I was walking all funny like a penguin and everything. My mom was like, "What are you doing?" And she turned me around, and she pulled it out of my pants, and she walked me to the security guard, and she's like, "You know, I don't want my son because my son is a thief. Here, you can have him."
Oh.
And I was crying and everything, and the security guard was like, you know, "Hey, you know, I'm gonna have to take you away because you stole this toy." And I was like, "Please, please, please." I was begging her, "Don't do it." So I begged my mom, told her I wasn't gonna steal anything ever again. But it was like right then and there, she, even though she wanted to teach me a lesson, she was like, "This little boy loves Superman so much that he wanted to just take it.
Yeah,
just
yeah.
to take it. And it was like, for some reason I had in my mind that thing was just super cool and it was super unattainable. For some reason I just thought that, it was just unattainable. But
Hmm.
it was like, it just created such like this energy when I saw it, you know what I mean? And it just seems as though now that energy really isn't there because things are just pumped out so frequently,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, it's yeah, it's definitely a thing. In terms of even, there hardly is ever a time where nowadays where I don't know something's coming out, but there is still every once in a while where you go to the store and something you've never heard of is on the shelf, and I'm like, what is you know what I mean? It's like you
right,
feel that again. You're like, because it's something you've never seen. It wasn't at Toy Fair. It wasn't, you know, leaked or anything. Nothing like that. And it happens every once in a while. But I know
right,
that energy you're talking about. You're like,
yeah,
oh, like this is awesome. This is
right.
fantastic.
But also too now, but that's why I love guys like Super Seven. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
they do retro stuff, but then they'll do some retro stuff that I might have always wanted, like Breaking or something like that. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Or give me something retro that I used to love, and then add on to it, like Shogun Warriors or something like that. Or
Hmm.
I always had always hoped and worked on it a little bit while I was at Hasbro, and kind of we had discussions about it. But there is I always wanted to work on Rom the Space Knight, and push that, because
Oh yeah. Yeah.
there's some cool stories that goes on with Rom and all the other characters and all that. But because Rom has been in this legal kind of tango between Marvel and Hasbro and all this other stuff, the ownership,
Yeah.
the rights are kind of like in limbo. But it's like I would love to be able to see some Rom the Space Knight characters like on the shelves, some new Shogun Warriors or something like that. You know what I mean? Like some, just something, some new $6 million man in a different form or fashion, or give me something that has never really been out there before.
Yeah.
Some other movies or other shows that never really been out there, but just if you're gonna go retro, give me something that really, pulls at my heart, but it kind of has to be right. It has to look like the retro, but also be affordable. But let me discover it. Like have that
Yeah.
feeling of discovery attached to it too. You know what I mean? And you know, I don't know. I'm kind of rambling, but
No, no, no. I totally feel what you're saying. I think in terms of the retro, the packaging plays a hefty emphasis on it as well.
yep,
Figure, a lot of times in talking about, let's say, NECA toys, I'm a big fan of the old Kenner Aliens, and
yep, yep,
they took, let's say, they took some new character designs from recent Alien movies, Predator movies, and they did it in the Kenner style, very
yep,
5 POA and thing, and it was perfect. It actually had a spring-loaded launcher on one of them, and the mouth kind of
yeah,
came out. I love that sort of retro because
yeah,
it's still continuing the line. Like I was like, oh my god, after all these years, I finally have 2 new figures that I can add to the collection. In juxtaposition to that, let's say, when they say, let me like Power Rangers, you know what I mean? Like we have the new Power Rangers coming out, 6-inch
hmm,
figures, and then we have Ghostbusters, and now the plasma there is kind of 6-inch scale, but they're great. It's so much fun to have those, but we've kind of seen that before in some fashion. We need maybe more to it. What's something different that we can apply and get going? And I think that's where the retro uh, can sometimes be elevated a little bit better,
yep,
instead of just rehashing it but saying, oh, it's got more articulation, and then yeah.
yep,
You know what I mean? It's one of those that
yep. I hear
when I
you.
see the retro stuff.
Hmm. Yep.
In terms of like bringing stuff back that hasn't been seen, like we'll use like Spawn, like McFarlane did the Kickstarter,
Yeah.
and were you a fan of that one? Did you
Oh yeah. I mean,
get on that? Yeah.
I dug it, man. It's I I am. I'm one of those people, man, that, you know, I am a McFarlane loyalist.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. You know, I've always loved, I just love McFarlane, man. I just love the approach. You know, I love the from the movie Maniacs to, like, you know, everything. And
Mm-hmm.
I just always loved how he kind of in some way, shape, or form, McFarlane always bucked the system. You know, and I think that's what I love. And I you know, I even though there might have been some things that I may have felt could be executed differently, the fact
Mm-hmm.
that he bucked the system. You know what I mean? The fact that everybody kept saying, you need to do this, you need to do that, and he said, no, I'm gonna do it my way.
Yeah.
You know, and he never strayed away from that. And the philosophy never strayed away from that. You know, so, and even though, like, with some of the DC stuff that's doing, is like, I'm curious to see how it all, where it goes and everything,
Mm-hmm.
but it still has that feeling of bucking the system, and that's what I love. That's what I love.
Yeah, I talked to him recently in an interview, and we talked about the Spawn Kickstarter, and I said, like, you know, it was just right around the time when the COVID kind of started to kick up, and everyone was like, is this the right time? Is this the right time? And he was just like, why not? You know what I mean? And it
Right,
raised $3 million. Like,
right.
that's
It
insane.
right.
And
It was insane. It was insane, and it was like, you know, it to me, it kind of showed quite a few things. I mean, number one, like, he's still the man, obviously, and all that, but it was like, you know, do we have to continue to chase to go to, you know, Target, Walmart, and all that stuff, and do we have to do all that? You know, can we
yeah,
find new and unique action figures through this? Can this be, you know, something that's used more? Like, will this open the gates for people to really stand behind, you know, something new, you
yeah,
know, something different, you know, as long as it's executed right, you know, look cool, have a cool message, cool execution. Will folks really stand behind it now? Because there's been a lot of Kickstarters that were really cool but never made it. You
yeah.
know, like, now, will this be the opportunity to relook at stuff like that now?
I think we're in a changing time for how you buy your toys, especially. And I think that, like you're saying, bucking the system with McFarlane took something where a lot of people were saying, like, this will never work. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And he was I'm sure he was told that over and over again. You know, are you sure you want to do this? Um, I was so curious when they announced it at Toy Fair. I was like, okay, I really hope that this flies, because I know that we're probably not going to see a whole lot of Spawn. You know, the stores nowadays, they need that proof. They need that, like, is there a
Yeah.
movie? Is there a cartoon?
Yep.
Is there something behind it?
Yep.
Because it won't sell,
It
and
won't move. Right.
it
Exactly.
it's yes, and there's a lot of no's to it as well. But now, after the Kickstarter's done, it's all I've paid. It's I'm like, okay, I could just sit back and those figures are going to show up in November, or, you know, at the end of the year or
Hmm.
something like that. So it's kind of it's a different feeling. It's not exactly one that I'm like 100% behind, in the sense of, like, well, I still like going to the store. Of course, that'll always be that. But it's a fun experiment, and now that it has kind of worked, provided the toys show up and everything goes smoothly, I would most likely do it again. And I
Right.
mean,
Right. Right.
it's like HasLab, they're proposing maybe a new Marvel Legends thing. We haven't really seen a whole lot. It's been teased, but with I think the smoothness that McFarlane had, if they can recreate that with the HasLab, I'm in. That's
Hmm.
And I know the barge went fairly well. Unicron kind of stumbled. They had to extend it a couple. Um, but I think it's the price too. It's
Right. And also, too, I think also what it is, man, is the engagement too. Like, Todd
yeah,
McFarlane, you know, one of the things that Todd McFarlane has always done masterfully is engage with the fans. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Like,
hmm,
even when he was drawing Spider-Man and stuff, he will always do nods and winks to the fans, like on the covers, like hidden spiders and stuff like that. You know what I mean? But he was always communicating with the fans, and clearly, like you see with Hasbro, they communicate with the fans a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and that was something, that we had discovered early on, like at Toybiz and all that stuff, that engagement is necessary. Hearing Stan Lee's voice in the beginning of cartoons every week, that was engagement. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we felt like Stan was right there talking to us.
Mm-hmm.
Just reading his words, like reading his personal editorials and everything, and that stuff matters. You know what I mean? So now that you have a lot of companies that put out stuff, but they don't really engage with the fans the way that it should be. And
I
and
agree. Yeah.
and I think that right there is key. You know what I mean? Especially when you have, I mean, you gotta engage with the people. You know what I mean? And that can really take something that can have the people stand behind it in a grassroots way.
Yeah. I do a lot of engagement. I try to be at least excited, like via like my Instagram or something like that. I try to do a lot of giveaways, and I try to talk to a lot of companies where I say, look, this is happening. Maybe you guys want to, it's a way you got to give something back, because I love the support, in that sense. But
Hmm.
you have to keep, it's showing, people like, hey, we can do this. We can make it fun. It's got to be fun, and
Exactly.
I never want to get stagnant or be boring. That's the main thing.
Right.
So.
Because now it makes it seem like I'm going to be a part of this. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And it's like, to me, I always go back to Marvel. I always sound like a broken record, but one of the reasons why Marvel always stuck with me as opposed to DC is because I always felt like Marvel was talking to me and DC was talking at me.
I see that. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I always kind of felt like the DC characters was always telling me what to do, whereas opposed to Marvel characters was like, I do this too. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And now here's the understanding as to why.
Yeah.
And I kind of always kind of took that philosophy and that approach and how we would apply that to product. You know what I mean? And that is a unique thing, and I think that's a few people miss the mark, but you see like a lot of guys who do have that fan engagement, who do those nods and winks and but they really listen to the consumer, really listen to the fan and give them what they want. If they want more deco or more articulation, then if it can't be done, explain it to them. Like explain to the fan, because I always found out that when I talk to the guys one on one at conventions and everything and kind of explain to them why certain things were done, they had a better understanding. Then they were like, all right, I'll not only will I stand behind it, but I'll pass that message as well. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
it's like, I hate kind of being a part of a device where we kind of put stuff out there, put stuff out there, put stuff out there, and just fans are supposed to buy it. And it's like, you got to engage with them, like give them a rhyme and a reason. You know what I mean? Give them a nice trailer. Give the fans a trailer as to why they want to watch this movie.
Yeah.
Like really give them something to say. All right, I'm going to be along for this ride.
In terms of like talking Marvel versus DC, DC Marvel has been still to this day very engaging. DC has. I always tell people like, how are you liking DC Comics these days? And I go, well, I know what the storyline is right now. I don't necessarily pull out a comic book. That's the other problem, is that a lot of my comic book stuff nowadays is becoming like online refreshes and things like that. People tell you what the book is about or something like that. It's sad because I love DC characters, but I feel like they have, in a way, kind of fallen to the wayside a bit. Where, I mean, growing up too, I'd go Batman the Animated Series and I'd go Spider-Man the Animated, and you go back and forth between Marvel and DC a lot. But a lot of times these days, I'm like, I still love DC Comics. I like my old stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but Marvel has just been like, here's all this, here making movies and stuff like that. And DC needs that kick again. Like,
Yeah.
they're missing something. And in talking with somebody the other day, I was saying like, DC seems to be, in a modern sense, seems to be working less in the sense of one continuous story, and maybe they should focus on like standalones and
Yeah.
not have everything interconnect.
Yeah.
Because of the way the characters are represented nowadays. I think 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, they all worked well. I mean, Death of Superman, that was, such an event. They made, like, that was on the news. I remember I got a
Yeah.
Superman graphic novel, the whole thing at the
Yeah.
grocery store. It came with the black band.
Yeah. or how about the Death in the Family? I mean, that was one of the first 900 numbers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, DC, you're right, and it's funny, like, all right, this is full disclosure. I recently, and I stayed away from it on purpose so I can really just get an isolated view with no distractions or anything like that, no influence, anything like that. And I purposely stayed away from it. I recently watched Joker. And that was masterful, man. I mean, it was masterful. And I'm like, if DC focus on standalone movies and everything, like this is their winner right here.
Yeah.
And because it was just an amazing case study of the breakdown of the human, you know what I mean, who not only has outside environmental things that is causing the breakdown, but internal issues that's causing the breakdown too, and I likened it, to me, I put that right up there with Rob Zombie's Halloween. And the first act of Rob Zombie's Halloween, focusing on young Michael Myers, is absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant, man, because I used to do social work. Like I was a youth advocate worker, and I seen firsthand the breakdown of a kid, with the environment and everything like that, and to see how all these influences can impact a child, and then that child can have a breaking point and then go even further.
Yeah.
And it was like, man, this is like a different type of movie, a different type of film that Marvel cannot do. Marvel can't do stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And this is what I mean, like how DC was always kind of talking, at me, because like Superman was kind of used as almost like a propaganda tool, for truth, justice, and American way and all that other stuff, man.
Yeah.
Like if you kind of touch on some of those nuances, like Man of Steel, like I love Man of Steel because to me it wasn't a Superman movie, it was a Kal-El movie, and he had to discover who the hell Superman is. And when you are Kal-El discovering who you are, man, you're wrapped up in tons and tons of emotion with all this goddamn power. And you don't know what to do. You do not know what to do with it. So I found that fascinating about Man of Steel, that you have this person who discovers that he's not human, that he has all this power, but now he has all this compassion and emotion that has been placed in him to be a compassionate human being. And now his mother's getting, basically killed. He don't know what's in the situation with his mother. He just hear her in distress. And I'm like, what would you do if you had all this power and all this emotion, and you did not know you were discovering how to use both? Your mother is in distress. What would you do? You flip out, or like his father saying, like, maybe you should not have saved those kids. And that was just so powerful because you never heard that before.
Yeah.
So it's like, man, DC has clearly they have some gems, because like Superman, that symbol is the most recognizable symbol in the world. It's more recognizable than a cross in some places. Like the Batman logo is recognizable. Wonder Woman is Green Lantern. I mean, you can go on and on and on. But it's like trying to have them in this big cohesive story arcing, movie cinematic universe. That's not how to do it.
Yeah, I agree. And I think if they still want to do that, it works really well in their animation. I think that they've done fantastic.
Yeah, animation has up and down.
Up and
down.
The movies, there's just, I always say Marvel characters, for whatever reason, they're all so bizarre that they go together. DC, is kind of like a lot of the same, but maybe just some character personality differences here and there. But they clash too much. But we have seen them in, like I said, in animation, comic books. We have seen them work expertly. But it's for whatever reason, it's a code that hasn't been cracked yet. I don't think for the team up of the movie in the realm of DC.
Yeah.
But I agree with you on Joker. For me, the Joker is nameless. He's just the guy. He's the guy that is the foil for Batman. He does horrible things. I said this going in, even before I saw the movie. I don't need the origin story. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to see it. But if you look at it, when you see the movie, you see it in terms of like an Elseworld story, which again is starting to become a lot more appealing to me. For trying just to stay up with DC Comics, it was a really not a say fun movie, but it was such a fascinating, fun movie to watch.
Yeah.
Him do all this kind of stuff, and you're just like, there was one moment he's running through the subway and he's being chased by those cops, and the cops end up getting overtaken by all the Joker people in the masks and stuff, and he does the guys are watching him kind of run away. He does like this little kick dance kind of thing. I'm like, that's the Joker right there. That's exactly what he would do. And that's like, oh yeah, like adios. You know what I mean? Like, we'll leave you to your thing. But the talk show,
it
was horrifying. I was like, this is gonna go bad.
Because the Joker, man, we of course we think of him as this clown prince of crime. He's always laughing and all that shit. But when you get down to the dark part of it, like when he does his most vile shit, he's not laughing.
Yeah.
And he's not he knows that it's about to go down. And it's like now, but he kind of lets you discover why it's about to go down. You know what I mean? Like I'm looking at you serious, but this is the joke. I'm going to describe the joke to you, and then when you get the punchline, you're going to die. You know what I mean? So it's like now when one is telling the joke, it's like, man, this is funny. But when one is breaking down the joke, it is not funny at all. It's a lot of pain in that joke. You know what I'm saying? And that was the thing that I really dug about it. And also being a parent, it was like when he goes up to Bruce Wayne as a kid and wraps his hands around his neck, puts his fingers on his face.
Yeah.
Bro, as a father, when Bruce Wayne's father beat him down in the bathroom, I felt that all the way up and down. Because that was creep. That was, to me, that was the most creepiest part of the movie.
Yeah.
Because he reached out and could touch you at that point. You know what I mean? And I think, to me, that's why the character of the Joker in and of itself is one of the most fascinating characters ever created, because he can reach out to you and get you. And he reached out to Heath Ledger and got him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And he reached out to, Joaquin Phoenix. And you have to go through a series of decompression, methods to get Joker out of your fucking head. And that's what Batman has to do all the time. Mm-hmm. All the time. He's fucking going through these periods of decompression, and then bam, I gotta go. But he's always because of the Joker, the shit that he does, that he causes. And that character is that is the mark of genius, man. When you create a character like that can actually go beyond the page, go beyond the time, go beyond the period. And that's a character like that. He's a timeless character. And when he's played right by those who really are into their craft, and you want to get into the psyche of that character, that's a dangerous thing to do.
Yeah.
It's a dangerous thing to do because you don't know where it's going to go.
That, I think, encompasses the exact character of the Joker when he's played more like what you've just said, as opposed to let's say Jared Leto's portrayal. You know, if you go like the more henchman kind of route with Joker, or that he's all about the gags and he's not like he's serious. Like the Joker is supposed to be serious, but he has these wacky ideas and things to mess with you. But when you gotta have a good balance of both, because putting a bunch of tattoos and all that stuff, for me, that wasn't the Joker, and it really was.
But you know what got me as a kid was watching the old Batman TV show, right? And Cesar Romero never cut his mustache off. And it was this weird ass thing that he would do when you would look at him, when he would have obviously the paint painted like a smile, but his face was dead serious. He looked pissed. And the only hint of a man that was there was that mustache. And for some reason, that made that real. Like that mustache that I could see through that makeup made whatever emotion he was conveying it to me. And I was like, this character, out of all the characters in this show, the Joker is something that is different. He's totally different than any other one of these guys. And that kind of registered with me when watching, like, other actors portray the Joker, and there's something off about it. Like, because you have to expose a bit of yourself in order to intake that character. And when you do, that's a dangerous fucking thing. If you're a method actor and you're trying to methodically approach the Joker, that's some dangerous ground to tread. Because if you want to do it right and really go into the nuance of that character, man, you have to go into some dark places within yourself. Yeah.
I think that's a lot of what Joaquin Phoenix portrayed, though, is that even in his demeanor, he has a public persona, but you can tell who he is private, not trying to be a spectacle of an actor. It's more about the craft and the art of acting. And he'll do the press tours and he'll do that, but you could tell that he's just like, this is what I want to do. This is my job. I don't need to make a big to do about it. Just go watch my work and you'll see what I'm about. And I like that about him.
Right. Like watch me lose myself into the character. You know what I mean? And then after watching it, I was like, yo, this dude really deserved the award that he got. He really did deserve it.
Yeah, everything about that movie, even the griminess of Gotham City, the Batman Begins, Dark Knight, trilogy. It was very, you could tell it was very much based in Chicago, and they used it for aspects of Gotham. But even in Zack Snyder's version of Gotham and stuff, this was Gotham to me. I mean, I like the Tim Burton, because that has a fantastical kind of thing to it. It's very much the comic book style of that. But this was, I think they nailed the griminess, the dirtiness of Gotham.
Oh yeah, as a kid growing up, my grandmother was definitely afraid of big cities like New York. And she didn't like the dirtiness, the element, the densely population of it. She didn't like any of that. You know what I mean? And when I watched that movie, all I could hear was my grandmother I don't like this city. You know what I mean? It just conveyed it. And it wasn't fantastical because, growing up on the East Coast, that's what New York looked like to me. You know what I mean? That's what I would experience. That's what I would see. Those are the smells that I would encounter. I would see a group of kids run around dressed like that. You know what I mean? Look like that. I would see guys wearing that, weird, creepy looking guys. Everything about that was captured. You know what I mean? It really did what Marvel did in the comic books. It captured the true grit of the element of the story, and that's what the Joker did. It captured the grit. And I think, and also too, in my mind, Batman is also the most Marvel character that DC has, just by the sheer nature of his origin. I mean, that's some tragic shit. You know what I mean? Like that's some Punisher type shit. You know what I mean? Like that's some crazy shit for a little kid to witness his parents get murdered. Period.
Yeah.
Like you like that is some Michael Myers type shit. Mm-hmm. That set you off.
That's
about Batman.
Yeah, that is. You think about it in terms of like everyone knows the origin story, but yeah, to really feel that and for kids that have probably gone through, it's horrifying, mm-hmm. And that's people say like, oh, okay, so what makes you Batman? It's like that would set you off in a totally different state of mind where you're just you are a crazy person, but you semi keep it together.
Right.
So.
Yeah, man. So it's cool, man. It's funny, and you were just mentioning like Wizard magazine not too long ago, man.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, like those were the days, bro. I used to love Wizard magazine.
The cover, like when you would know, like I go to the grocery store and you're like, oh, there's the cover. You know what I mean? Like you never seen it before, but Wizard. You know what I mean? They'd always have those illustrated or the articles that they had, like. I'll tell you what, like probably about a year ago, I went to a thrift store and they had a stack of them. I bought them all. And just in kind of looking at them again, there's so much fun and so many, like, it's funny to see like what's coming in 1991, 1992, like maybe a Batman movie, maybe a Spider-Man movie. And nowadays you're just like, yeah, when is the next one coming out? You know what I mean? It's just like.
Right. I wish we could bring that stuff back. You know what I mean? In some form of way, like Toy Fair magazine, man. I remember we used to actually have competitions to see who would land on the cover and stuff like that. Like make bets and all that. You call like Randy over at NECA or whatever. I see you in the corner. I see you on the cover of the magazine. So it was always stuff like that. It was always fun to see who would make the cover of a Toy Fair magazine.
The Toy Fair magazine, like I said, like, I go on like Action Figure Insider. That was like when the internet kind of started taking shape and you could utilize that. I mean, eBay. I remember good old like the original eBay. You could go like, oh my God, I can find this toy on there. But Toy Fair magazine, opening it up and knowing your guys' stuff or the Toybiz, here's what's coming out, like. Slated for September, there's an onslaught wave. You got Jean Grey with Juggernaut trapped in the ruby gem Sidorak, and you read about it, you get so excited, but when they finally pop up on store shelves months later, you're just like, and then calling the Toybiz hotline. I always tell people, people don't believe me. They go, wait, there was a hotline? I'm like, yeah. No, I would call this thing like on a weekly basis. You know what I mean? Like, here's what's in stores now. And I'm like writing it down. I'm like, okay.
It was so much fun, man. It's funny because to me, Toy Fair, like looking at the covers and all, like of course fans were like, oh man, what's coming new? What's coming down the pike and everything? And of course I had those feelings too. But for me, it was always like looking at my friends' portfolios. You know what I mean? Like I always and I still do. I get a kick out of that, of watching what my peers are working on. You know what I mean? And that made me feel like I was part of a community.
Yeah.
And that's what I dug so much about that, and then to be able to engage the fans, and then now they're part of the community. You know what I mean? And like now we're all talking about the love of the toy, but then it's like, who made the toy and what they're going to do next, and why didn't they do this? And go over there and yell at that dude. Tell him to do that because I always wanted that. You know what I mean? Like that's what made like Comic-Con, like, because you would get your Toy Fair and your wizards and all that, and you read all that stuff. But then when Comic-Con would roll around, it was like, all right, now I'm going to run into Sora. I'm going to run into Jesse Falcon. I'm going to run into, Jerry or Ty. Or I'm going to run into all these dudes. Now I'm going to let them know what's on my mind. And then months later, it's like, boom, it will actually show up in the toy.
Yeah.
It will actually show up. And I'm like, man, that is what I'm talking about. That is like, that's community. That's community.
How do you feel about the mark you've left on toys. Like everybody somewhere who has collected. I can't imagine the feeling of that, like knowing that you have designed, created, had influence upon hundreds, of figures and things like that. Like,
bro, like I still don't truly get it. Because at the time it was just, we were just some young artists that were getting paid to do what we love to do in the place that we always love. You know what I mean? So it was like, wow, we're actually, getting paid to work at Marvel.
Yeah.
So like, man, it was like you go home to your other home, so but the impact and what everyone has, it's amazing how what people has taken away from it, because I know the people that were behind the sculpt, the dudes that painted it, the guys that wrote the stories, or, the people that came up with the marketing scheme, or, so it's like to hear, to be a part of that, to be a part of those voices that make a product, but then also to engage with the fans and then take their voices and then apply that to the product as well, and then get their reaction out of it. That's just it's a unique thing. It's and it's constantly growing and evolving. Like I remember when I worked on the Marvel Universe 3 3/4 line, like in some of the file cards, I actually put like, a couple fans' names in there and stuff, and
yeah,
kind of intertwine them with the story and all that. And certain emails that I would get, I would change them around and put that into the story, and it was like those elements of life that you would use as inspiration and apply it to the toy, and then you see it become a product. That it was just fun to do that, to be able to put that into something for people to pick up on and then buy and then keep for themselves. Because like we started talking before, it's like all about the memories and the experiences, man. And it's like beyond just, people buying it now, having this means to buy and order it and stuff. It's like, I want to share with you something that is in my heart, in my mind. I want to put it in there into a way where I know you will get it, because we speak the same common language. When we get past all the other bullshit, we speak a lot of the same common language. And I'm right now in the opportunity to put this into an actual product, an actual thing. Let me do that. Let me sandwich that in there and see if it's going to be received. And for people to receive that, it's like, that's just cool. You know what I mean? Because it was implanted in me by an artist, by a creator, by someone who wanted to pass that message on. So who am I to hoard that? Who am I to not share that feeling, that same feeling of discovery with someone else? And and I think that's what I love, man. It's like I don't have a favorite figure or anything like that I worked on, but those experiences, man, meeting those people, both in front of and behind, the counter, before it even gets to the counter, and then the people after it gets to the counter, it's like just an amazing journey. It's an amazing human experience to be able to share and talk about and create, so and I hope that people can have found that it was never artificial. Like, we really just wanted to do what we love and translate that into the product.
Yeah. I think that it definitely shows. And, for me, being able to talk with you one-on-one like this, and, I've been talking to a lot of people. Adam Van Wickler, he put us in contact with one another, and I'm like, do you know David Vonner? I'm like, do you think he'd be wanting to come talk? Because I love hearing these stories, and it, to me, I've said this a billion times, but it blows my mind to be able to talk with you or anybody that's worked on all these toys I've collected over the years. Because I'm just looking at my office right now, and I'm like, how am I talking with you right now? This is amazing. You know what I mean? So, but no, that's why I try to do this, is because there's so many stories behind all this stuff that I think people tend to forget, that yes, it's great when new toys come out, but there's people behind these things. It's
Right.
not always just a corporate decision. It's not.
Right.
It's people putting their art and their heart and soul into it. So
Right. And not only that, but there's people that, don't necessarily agree with, how product had been rolling out with the company before. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
we all try to do something to change, because you can't do a drastic change with, companies like Mattel and Hasbro. They're just too large and been around too long, and there's certain mentalities that are very hard to change, but you can influence small change, what I mean, and the little things, and even when it doesn't make it, because I'm telling you, some of the coolest toys I've ever seen never ever made the shelves. Never even made it. Like some of the coolest ideas brainstormed, like, have absolutely blown my mind. People have never even seen the light of day. They never even made it. So, but it's like those experiences create small change, which allow, toy creators, whether it's an engineer or designer or a marketer or packaging, it allows them to be able to take those no's, all those no's, and find a small yes and apply those changes into that small yes.
Yeah.
And then and that's how you Trojan horse your message. You know what I mean? So, and I think that, that's one of the things that, if anything, while speaking about that, is what I cherish the most, is some of those messages that, we've kind of Trojan horsed, those feelings, those ideas, those concepts that we kind of slid in there and then made it. You know what I mean? And we wound up turning the wheel a little bit. You know what I mean? Kind of changing the norm a little bit.
Yeah.
So I think that's what I love the most. Like, that's the experience that I personally take away the most from being at Toybiz and Hasbro and all that stuff.
What about now? Like nowadays, I mean, even what you've just said, I mean, it can apply to real life. Just we need to make subtle changes and change for the better, and I hope that that's ultimately where we're heading. It's in every aspect of life. That's for sure.
Yeah. Like for instance, what's going on socially right now? Like I've been told, I mean, it was pretty much a well-known thing that black product, African American characters don't sell as much as other characters. So hence is why you didn't see as many Luke Cages or T'Challas or Captain Marvels or certain characters that look like African Americans. Why those products never even came about? Because we're told from different sources that they don't sell. You know what I mean? So, but it's like, all right, how do you push it? How do you push the envelope? Because you can't just settle with no.
Yeah.
So it's like, how do you push it? And so you do what you can. You push the envelope as much as you can, and you get those small changes in there to enact a bigger change. So hopefully we'll get to see more. And like I really had pushed for all my years. I pushed for Shang-Chi. I mean, I pushed for Shang-Chi so hard it wasn't even funny. It wasn't even funny. Because I love Bruce Lee so much. Like Bruce Lee is like really one of my idols, inspirations. I don't go a day without, reading a quote, seeing an image of Bruce Lee. And I really, really wanted Shang-Chi bad, and for whatever reason, whatever excuse, there was always something as to why the character couldn't be done, or why the character had to be pushed, or why it wouldn't work in a wave, and it just always bothered me. It just bothered me. Like, why the excuse?
I think that's a great place to leave off for now. Look forward to tomorrow. I'll post up part 2 of my interview with the amazing David VONNER. And to everyone who's made it this far, thank you so much. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Adios.